The sky turned blue that morning. Not the normal blue of Earth's sky, but a strange electric blue that made everyone stop and look up. It was the year 2347, and humans had lived on 12 different star systems for over 100 years. They had met a few alien species before, traded with some, and fought with others. But nothing had prepared them for this. Dr. Kim Yuna was drinking her third cup of coffee when her computer started making sounds she had never heard before. She was 42 years old and had spent her whole life studying alien languages. She worked in a small office in Seoul, but her work was important. She was one of the best at understanding how aliens talked and thought. The message on her screen was not like anything she had seen. It came from somewhere far away, somewhere very old. She put down her coffee and leaned closer to the screen. Her hands were shaking a little. At the same time, in cities all over Earth and on every human colony, giant pictures appeared in the sky. They were holograms, bigger than any building. People stopped their cars. Children pointed. Old men and women came out of their houses to watch. The hologram showed a creature that was hard to look at. It had too many eyes, and its body was like an insect, but much bigger and darker. When it spoke, the voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. Dr. Kim worked through the night. She did not eat. She did not sleep. By morning, she understood the message, and she wished she did not. The message was simple. It came from something called the Galactic Council. This council had ruled the galaxy for 3 million years. They had power over 847 different species. Now, they had finally noticed humanity. The council wanted tribute. They wanted resources from human planets. They wanted human technology. And they wanted people, human beings, to serve them, to work for them, forever. Dr. Kim called the president. President Lee Dae-ho was a quiet man. He had been a teacher before he became a politician. He believed in talking, in finding solutions, in bringing people together. He was 60 years old and had gray hair and kind eyes. When Dr. Kim told him what the message said, those kind eyes became very serious. "How long do we have?" he asked. 30 days, Dr. Kim said. "They say this is generous. Most species only get 10. The president called an emergency meeting. Leaders from every country on Earth came, leaders from Mars, from the moon bases. From the far colonies came too. They met in a great hall, and they argued. Some said they should give the council what they wanted. "We cannot fight them," one leader said. "They have ruled for 3 million years. We are nothing to them. If we fight, they will destroy us." Others were angry. "Give them our people," a woman from the Mars colony shouted. "Give them our children? Never! I would rather die!" The room became loud. People yelled at each other. Some cried, some hit tables with their fists. In the corner of the room, one man sat quietly. His name was Admiral Park Tae-soo. He was the commander of Earth's defense fleet. He was 58 years old and had fought in 3 wars. His daughter had died in the colony wars 10 years ago. He never talked about it, but everyone knew. Admiral Park did not yell. He did not argue. He just watched and listened. And he thought about his ships, his soldiers, and what they could do. The meeting went on for hours. No one could agree. The council's deadline was getting closer, and humanity was fighting itself instead of making a decision. Finally, President Lee stood up. The room became quiet. Everyone looked at him. "I have listened to all of you," he said. His voice was calm and steady. "I have heard your fears and your anger. Both are right. We should be afraid. We should be angry. But fear and anger are not answers." He looked around the room at all the faces, old faces and young faces, faces from Earth and faces from the colonies, all of them human, all of them scared. "We have 30 days, he said. 30 days to decide who we are. Not just what we will do, but who we are. What kind of species are we? What do we believe in? What will we not give up, no matter what?" He paused. The room was completely silent. "I do not know what we should do yet," the president said. "But I know this question matters more than anything else. Before we answer the council, we must answer ourselves." He looked at them all one more time. "What kind of species do we want to be?" Nobody spoke. The question hung in the air like smoke. Outside the great hall, the strange blue light still filled the sky, and somewhere far away, ancient eyes were watching, waiting for humanity's answer. The clock had started. 30 days, and everything would change. 1 week passed. Dr. Kim Yuna traveled to a place no human had ever been before. The council had a station at the edge of human space, and they wanted to talk. They called it negotiation, but Dr. Kim knew what it really was. They wanted to show her how powerful they were. The station was bigger than a city. It floated in space like a metal mountain, covered in lights that never stopped moving. When Dr. Kim's small ship got close, she felt very small. That was the point. Inside, she met Counselor Veth. He was the one from the hologram, the insect creature with too many eyes. Up close, he was even harder to look at. He stood 3 meters tall and moved in ways that made Dr. Kim's stomach feel strange. "You are the speaker for the humans?" Veth asked. His voice clicked and buzzed. "I am here to understand," Dr. Kim said carefully. "To learn what you want and why." Veth made a sound that might have been laughter. "Young mammals, you think there is something to understand? There is not. You give tribute. We protect you. This is how the galaxy works. This is how it has always worked. And if we refuse?" Veth moved closer. His many eyes looked at her. "You will not refuse. No species refuses. But what if we did?" The counselor was quiet for a moment. Then he waved one of his long arms. The room changed. Holograms appeared all around them. They showed planets, dead planets, burned planets, planets covered in nothing but rock and dust. "These were species that refused," Veth said. "They are gone now. Not even their names are remembered. Only these pictures remain, to teach others." Dr. Kim looked at the dead worlds. She felt cold inside. But she also noticed something. Veth was watching her very carefully. He was waiting to see fear in her eyes. She made sure he did not see it. Back on Earth, the debates continued. But something was changing. Admiral Park had been talking to his captains, especially a young woman named Captain Cho Hana. Hana was 35 years old. She commanded a new warship called the Baekdu. It was the most advanced ship humans had ever built, and it carried weapons that were still secret, weapons the Council did not know about. "Can we win?" Admiral Park asked her one night when they were alone. Captain Cho thought about it. "Win? Maybe not. But we can hurt them. We can make them remember us." The Admiral nodded slowly. That might be enough. On Mars, a woman named Jang Subin was starting something new. She was an engineer who built machines. Simple work, honest work. But when the Council's message came, something woke up inside her. She started talking to her neighbors, then to workers in other cities, then to people across the whole planet. She did not give speeches. She just asked questions. "What are you willing to fight for?" she asked. "What matters to you?" People answered. Farmers, miners, teachers, doctors. They all had the same answer, in different words. They were willing to fight for their families, for their children, for their right to live free. Someone painted words on a wall in Yang Subin's city. One answer. Soon, the words appeared everywhere. On Earth, on the moon, on every colony. One answer. Nobody knew who started it, but everybody knew what it meant. Dr. Kim stayed at the Council station for 3 more days. She asked questions and listened to the answers. She learned many things. Most of them were scary. The Council had ships beyond counting. They had weapons that could break planets. They had ruled for 3 million years, and they had never lost. But she also learned something else, something that gave her hope. Counselor Veth was not afraid of humans. He was not worried about the deadline or the decision. He was completely sure that humans would obey, because every species always obeyed. For 3 million years, every single one. They had no plan for what to do if someone said no. On her last night at the station, Dr. Kim sent a secret message to President Lee. She used a code that only he would understand. "They have done this hundreds of times," she wrote. "They have a system, ships, procedures, schedules. Everything is planned. But they have never had to use a different plan. They do not know what to do if someone says no." She paused before writing the next line. "I think we should say no." Far away, President Lee read the message. He read it again. Then he looked out his window at the night sky, full of stars that suddenly seemed very close. He started writing the speech that would change everything. Day 29. 1 day before the deadline. The whole galaxy was watching. At the edge of human space, the Council's compliance fleet waited. Over 2,000 ships, each one bigger than anything humans had ever built. Fleet Commander Owen stood on his flagship and looked at the star maps. He was a tall creature with scales like a lizard and cold yellow eyes. He had done this 47 times before, 47 species, 47 victories. He had never lost. "The humans will submit," he said to his officers. They always do. On Earth, President Lee sat in his office. His aide, a young woman named Shin Mira, handed him the final speech. She had been a poet before she joined politics. She knew how to make words powerful. "Is this what you want to say?" she asked. The president read it one more time. "Yes," he said, "this is exactly what I want to say." That night, every human colony held a vote. Not just the leaders, everyone. Every person old enough to understand the question got to answer it. Should humanity submit to the Council, or should they refuse? The votes came in from Earth, from Mars, from the Moon, from stations around Jupiter and Saturn, from colonies so far away that their messages took hours to arrive. When all the votes were counted, President Lee smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a man who knew what was coming and was ready to face it. The vote was 94%. 94% of all humans, everywhere, had chosen the same answer. On day 30, President Lee stood before cameras that would send his image across the stars. Behind him, the flags of every nation and every colony hung together. Dr. Kim stood with him, Admiral Park, Captain Cho, leaders from every corner of human space. The broadcast went out on every frequency. It reached the Council station. It reached the compliance fleet. It reached species all across the galaxy who had been watching and wondering what the young humans would do. President Lee spoke. "To the Galactic Council," he began. His voice was calm and clear. "You have asked us for tribute. You have demanded our resources, our technology, and our people. You have given us 30 days to decide." He paused. The whole galaxy was listening. "We have decided. We have asked every human being, on every world we call home, to answer your demand. And they have answered. All of them. Together." Another pause. Longer this time. "The answer is no." On the Council station, Counselor Veth stopped moving. His many eyes blinked. He had heard wrong. He must have heard wrong. President Lee continued. "We will not give you our resources. They belong to us. We dug them from the ground. We pulled them from the stars. They are ours. We will not give you our technology. We built it with our own hands and minds. It came from our dreams and our work. It is ours. We will not give you our people, not one, not ever. They are not tribute. They are not slaves. They are human beings, and they belong to themselves." His voice grew stronger. "We are not your subjects. We are not your servants. We are not afraid of you." He looked directly into the camera as if he could see the ancient eyes watching from across the stars. "We are humanity, and our answer is no." The broadcast ended. Silence fell across human space. Then, slowly, sounds began. Cheering, crying, people hugging each other in the streets. On Mars, Yang Subin watched with tears running down her face. On the Baekdu, Captain Cho Hana gripped the arms of her command chair until her knuckles turned white. At the council station, Counselor Veth stood completely still for a long time. Then he turned to his aides. "This has never happened before," he said. His voice was strange, like he did not believe his own words. "What do we do?" one aide asked. Veth did not answer. He did not know. On his flagship, Fleet Commander Owen received new orders from the Council. "Begin integration procedures, take the human worlds, crush their resistance." He gave the command. 2,000 ships began to move toward human space. Admiral Park watched them come on his screens. He had been preparing for this moment for weeks. He activated Protocol Hwarang. Every human ship, every station, every defense platform went to battle ready. Millions of soldiers stood at their posts. Millions of civilians prepared to fight. On the Baekdu, Captain Cho watched the enemy fleet grow larger on her sensors. She thought about everything she might lose. Her ship, her crew, her life, her whole species maybe. Then she thought about what would happen if they gave up. What they would lose, then. She stood up straight. "They wanted an answer," she said quietly. "Let's make sure they remember it." The fleet moved closer. The war was about to begin. The Council fleet entered the Sol system like a dark cloud crossing the sun. 2,000 ships, each one built for war. Fleet Commander Owen watched from his flagship as they moved past Pluto, past Neptune, heading straight for Earth. He expected the humans to surrender. Most species did when they saw the fleet. But as his ships approached Jupiter, something strange happened. They fought back. Admiral Park had hidden his forces throughout the system. Ships waited behind moons. Weapons platforms hid in asteroid fields. When the Council fleet came close to Jupiter, the trap closed. Human ships came out from behind Jupiter's moons. They were smaller than the Council ships, but they were fast, and they knew this space. They had grown up here. Every rock, every shadow, every place to hide. The first Council ship exploded in a ball of fire, then another, then 10 more. Fleet Commander Owen could not believe what he was seeing. In 1 hour, he lost 60 ships. In his last 3 wars combined, he had lost only 20. These humans were supposed to be young, weak, primitive. They were none of those things. Captain Cho Hana led the Baekdu straight at the enemy flagship. Her ship carried weapons no one had ever seen before. Gravitic missiles. They bent space itself and passed right through the Council's shields. "Fire," she said. The missiles hit. Commander Owen's flagship shook like a toy. Alarms screamed. Fires started. For the first time in his life, Owen felt something he had never felt before. Fear. The battle moved through the solar system, fighting at Jupiter, fighting in the asteroid belt, fighting at Mars. Everywhere the Council fleet went, humans were waiting. On Mars, Council landing ships came down carrying soldiers. They expected to find scared civilians hiding in their homes. Instead, they found Yang Subin. She had organized the whole planet. Miners with heavy equipment, engineers with improvised weapons, farmers who knew every tunnel and cave, teachers who could coordinate from hidden bunkers. The Council soldiers stepped out of their ships and walked into a storm. "Every block," Yang Subin told her people. "We fight for every block. We make them pay for every street, every building, every room. They will remember Mars." They fought, old men and young women, scientists and workers, People who had never held a weapon before picked up whatever they could find and stood their ground. The council soldiers were better trained, better armed. But they had never fought anyone who refused to give up. Every time they took a street, humans took it back. Every time they cleared a building, more humans appeared. At the council station, Dr. Kim Yuna did something dangerous. She had stayed there after her visit, watching and waiting. Now she found a way to send a message. She broadcast the battle across the galaxy. Every species controlled by the council could see what was happening. They saw humans fighting, dying, refusing to surrender. "Look," her message said, "look at what happens when someone says no." Across 1,000 worlds, enslaved species watched, and something stirred inside them. Something that had been asleep for a very long time. The battle reached Earth. Admiral Park's flagship flew to meet the enemy. He was old and tired, and his body hurt from days of fighting, but he would not stop. "Sir," one of his officers said, "we're outnumbered. We should retreat and regroup." The admiral looked at Earth on his screen, blue and green and beautiful. Home. "No," he said. "No retreat. Not today." His flagship was destroyed 2 hours later, but Admiral Park survived. He transferred to another ship, smaller and damaged, and kept fighting. The battle went on for 3 days. Ships burned and fell. People died on both sides. The space around Earth became a graveyard of broken metal. When it was over, the Council had lost more than half their fleet. Over 1,000 ships, destroyed or crippled. More losses than they had suffered in 100 years. Humanity had lost even more. Hundreds of ships, tens of thousands of lives, cities damaged, colonies hurt. But they had not surrendered. Not once. Not even when it seemed hopeless. Fleet Commander Owen sat in his damaged flagship and sent a message he had never sent before. In all his years of war, he had never needed help. "Request reinforcements," he said. "The humans are different. Send more ships. Many more." He looked out at the broken battlefield, at the human ships that still patrolled, still ready to fight. "Send everything you have." 3 months passed. The Council's reinforcement fleet arrived at the edge of human space. 5,000 ships this time, more than twice what they had sent before, enough to crush any resistance. But the fleet did not attack. It just waited. Something was happening across the galaxy, something the Council had never seen before. Dr. Kim Yuna's broadcast had spread everywhere. Billions of beings had watched the humans fight. They had seen a small species stand against the most powerful force in the galaxy and refuse to fall. And they had started asking questions. On a planet called Vorn, a species that had paid tribute for 800 years stopped their shipments. "We need to think about this," their leaders said. "We need to talk." On 3 moons of a gas giant in the outer rim, workers put down their tools and refused to dig anymore. "Why?" they asked. "Why do we give everything to them?" On a station near the Council headquarters, a young member of an enslaved species spray-painted 2 words on a wall. "Say no." Guards caught her and took her away. But the next day, the words appeared in 10 more places, then 100, then 1,000. The Council had ruled for 3 million years because no one believed they could be challenged. Now everyone had seen it happen. The fear that held the galaxy together was starting to crack. Counselor Veth contacted Dr. Kim through a private channel. He did not look as tall as before. His many eyes seemed tired. "You have broken something," he said. "Something that worked for 3 million years." Dr. Kim looked at him through the screen. It only worked because no one believed they could say no. Veth was quiet for a long moment. "What do you want?" he asked finally. "What would make this stop?" "Freedom," Dr. Kim said. "For us and for everyone who wants it. No more tribute, no more slaves. Species that want to join the Council can join. Species that want to leave can leave. That's simple. That would destroy everything we have built." No, Dr. Kim said. It would change it. There's a difference. On Earth, Admiral Park was recovering from his injuries. He had been hurt badly in the battle, but he refused to stay in bed. Captain Cho visited him every day. They're not attacking, she told him one morning. The new fleet. It's just sitting there. They're afraid, the Admiral said. For the first time in 3 million years. They're not sure they'll win. Captain Cho sat down beside him. What happens now? Admiral Park looked out the window at the sky. Now we decide what kind of galaxy we want to live in. Not just us, everyone. President Lee gave one more speech. This time, it was not just for humans. It went out to every species in the galaxy, friend and enemy, free and enslaved. We did not ask for this war, he said. We did not want it. We only wanted to live free and make our own choices. That is all we still want. He paused. The council offered us a place as servants. We refused. Now we offer something different to every species that can hear us. Stand with us, not under us, beside us. We ask for no tribute. We demand no obedience. We only ask that you choose your own path, whatever that path may be. The old galaxy was built on fear. Let us build a new one on choice. 2 weeks later, the Council announced a strategic reassessment. The reinforcement fleet withdrew. The tribute demand was officially canceled. Humanity was recognized as a free and independent species. It was not the end. The galaxy did not change in one day. There would be more problems, more conflicts, more struggles. Some species stayed with the Council, some left, some fought their own wars. But everything was different now. The impossible had happened. Someone had said no, and they had survived. On Mars, 6 months after the battle, Jang Subin stood at a landing pad and watched a ship arrive. It was small and old, and it came from very far away. The door opened. Strange beings walked out. They were short, with 4 arms and skin like blue stone. They looked around with wide, nervous eyes. We came, their leader said in broken human language that they had clearly just learned. We saw what you did. We want to learn. Learn what? Jiang Subin asked. How to say no. Jiang Subin smiled. It was a tired smile, but a real one. She had lost friends in the battle. Her city still had scars. But standing here, looking at these beings who had traveled across the stars because of what humanity had done, she felt something she had not felt in a long time. Hope. It's easy, she said. You just have to mean it. Above them, the stars shone bright and clear. The same stars that had always been there, watching every species rise and fall. But something had changed. For the first time in 3 million years, those stars looked at a galaxy that was waking up, and it all started with one word, no.